To this, may you live in interesting times. And I really believe you're living in very interesting times. I think the opportunities to be presented to people worldwide are fantastic. Unfortunately, what's happening is this: a lot of people are taking advantage of those opportunities, and it's creating what in my opinion, a bigger divide. All right, and what I mean by that is that in courses like edX, when edX came out and the Coursera, there was a belief that it was going to level the playing field, that it was going to give people that did not have access to high quality education access to it. For example, MIT was one of the first players on the internet that was sharing their content, and there was articles in Wired magazine about a small village in Vietnam where a guy was living basically very primitive lifestyle, no electricity, whatever, and he had access to like an internet connection with the computer, with the generator, but no direct source of electricity, and he was learning, top-notch physics from MIT. All right, now, I'm not saying he wasn't doing it, but the scenario wasn't leveling the playing field anywhere really. What was happening was the people that were extra motivated learners, and I learned this when I was taking courses on Coursera. It seemed like most of the participants on the course that are actually persistent were the ones that were already well educated. They already knew the subject. They were just going there to maybe hone their skills, review it, whatever. But they were top of their game, by the way. All right, they really were at the top of their game. And it just wasn't students at those schools that were taking it. Was people from all over the place, but they were all at the top of their game, and it's so true at the top of their game. So they were basically feeding an audience that was just getting stronger. Whereas the audience that was hoped to really level the field was the audience that we're trying to address, which is the people who are being left behind, the least of us. All right. But again, I believe this does provide opportunities for the least of us. Just one other example, Stanford University, I think it was on an edX course. They were running something in cryptography, I believe. And they gave it to their students, but they also let students from outside Stanford take it. But again, you have to imagine that the students taking the course at Stanford probably pretty well prepared for the most part. I wouldn't assume that to be totally true, by the way. There's a lot of disasters at Stanford too, by the way. But the bottom line is there's a lot of well-prepared students at Stanford. However, there's also a lot of well-prepared students at other schools, including state universities, and like if you go to Rutgers or any other state, they're really well prepared. I'm not saying every student, but there's a large number of students out there really well prepared. And again, they self-select. They took the course at Stanford with no credit, by the way. They took the same exams that those students took at Stanford. They're really hard to cheat in these exams, by the way, because you have to be really smart to find someone to help you cheat in the exam, and they're the ones taking the exam then. But the bottom line is, according to Stanford, the outside population taking those courses did better than the Stanford students. And why is that? It's a self-selecting population. You've got to select that choice to get involved in that. And yes, you could take courses at Stanford, MIT, Columbia, Harvard, Princeton, whatever, and they're available. All right, it's not like it was a few years ago, but they're still available. A lot of course content, and YouTube's a great place for that. And I want to point out there's one instructor. He's a community college teacher. He's good at what he does. I enjoy what he does. Some of the stuff he does, though, I don't really agree with what he's doing. Like he'll do things that I would tell a student, don't do that. But you know what? That's a choice he's making. And certainly he's a good teacher. He's well-liked. And he's got a great audience, a great YouTube audience, but he shares his content. So this video over here is about his content that he's sharing about the law of sines, law of cosines. All right, so I give you an example over here of him doing that with video solutions. Now, what I'm always saying is, try to create your own content, by the way. Just don't listen to people. Create your own content. So what I do normally is I take his worksheets, and sometimes I rework them. And then, I might look at his worksheets, and I don't think he's looking at mine, by the way. But I do like to look at his stuff, by the way. I also like to compare my answers with his answers. Hopefully we're in agreement, by the way. Anyway, I create my own video. I'll post that as well. And, I'm going to say you can also create your version, too. You could share that on the internet. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you'll get a few viewers. Who knows? right? The other thing I point out is we disagree on certain things, by the way. Like he believes that students should use calculus on an exam. I don't think students should use calculus on an exam. And even if I did, my department says they can't use calculators on exams. So I have to write my exams so there's no calculator. So what I do is exam, by the way, what I do is I do it as my student would take it, no calculator use. I'm writing down basically exact answers, right? I'm not doing any computation. I'm writing down an exact answer, no computation, or very minimal computation, only simple, really grade school computations. However, I do realize we live in a world where computation is important. So I'm going to say if computation becomes important, it's not hand computation of difficult concepts, it's computer computation. So I go through using a computer algebra system to address those issues. Thank you.